There's nothing quite like sipping cold lemonade while floating in your private pool until a sun hat wearing, clipboard-toting Susan eclipses the sun with her aura of entitlement. I'd barely dried off when she marched up to my gate, lips pursed like a grapefruit wedge. "Nice pool," she said, feigning admiration. "Some of us think it's only fair that all HOA members get to enjoy it too. Otherwise, it creates division. Welcome to Neighborhood Chronicles. Hit like and subscribe for premium HOA drama." I blinked. "I'm sorry, you want what now?" Susan smiled, the kind of grin villains flash before hitting a big red button. "Your pool. It's the only one in the community. The board's considering a motion to require you to open it up or shut it down entirely. It's about equity. We can't have some residents living like kings while others sweat in their yards." Ah, yes, the classic HOA equity doctrine, tucked somewhere between fairy tales and utter nonsense. "Unless the HOA's covering my chlorine and utilities, I'm pretty sure you can't do that," I replied, still dripping. Susan waved her clipboard. "We'll see. You'll get a formal notice." And with that, she was gone, probably off to harass someone over their mailbox color. 2 days later, the letter arrived written in Comic Sans, no less. It demanded I open my pool to the community within 30 days or face escalating consequences, including fines and a vague, structural disapproval review. I had no clue what that meant, but it reeked of a threat cooked up in a boardroom fueled by rose and self-righteousness. So, I did what any pool-loving, legally savvy homeowner would do. I cracked open the HOA charter like it was a mystery novel. I highlighted, tabbed, and read until my eyes felt like they'd been dunked in chlorine. And what I found? Oh, Susan was about to step in it big time. Turns out, not only was my pool fully approved during construction, but the HOA explicitly couldn't govern private recreational use unless it was funded by association dues. She wanted to play legal chicken? Fine. I was about to install a shiny, permanent sign and take her for a ride through her own bylaws. Nothing feels quite as satisfying as finding ironclad proof that your least favorite dictator is dead wrong. It's better than sunlight on pool water. Section 8.3.2 of the HOA Charter became my new best friend. It clearly stated the HOA couldn't regulate private recreational structures unless they were built with HOA funds, which mine wasn't. I paid for every tile, pipe, and drop of sparkling blue freedom. So, I did what any rational person would do. I made a sign. Not some flimsy cardboard nonsense, but a professional-grade aluminum plaque, polished, engraved, and bolted to the fence by my pool gate. It read, "Private property, not affiliated with HOA. Trespassers will be prosecuted. Security cameras active." Section 8.3.2 of HOA Charter. Susan saw it 2 hours after it went up. She didn't even ring the bell, just stood at the edge of my yard, looking like I'd declared war. "You're being divisive," she snapped. "Nope," I said, grinning. "Just lawful. You should try it." She huffed and stormed off in a cloud of righteous fury. But winning wasn't enough. I wanted it to sting. So, I drafted a formal letter to the HOA, including a copy of the bylaw and an application for shared access to private recreational facilities. I slapped on a $50,000 non-refundable processing fee, a 3-page liability waiver, a notarized fitness certification form, and a release of all legal claims. I sent it certified mail. Susan signed for it herself. 2 days later, she sent another letter demanding I remove the sign and rethink my elitist attitude. So, I framed her letter, hung it next to the sign, and added a laminated tag for educational purposes. Meanwhile, I started chatting with neighbors. Turns out, plenty of them weren't fans of Susan's clipboard tyranny. And then I hit the jackpot. Her HOA board seat was up for re-election in just 2 months. She came for my pool. Now I was coming for her throne. There's no better campaign fuel than Susan herself. The moment I started talking to neighbors, the floodgates opened. She fined me $100 for planting the wrong roses. She banned my kid's birthday bounce house for being too festive. She wrote me up because my flagpole was an inch too short. I didn't need to smear her. Susan had done the work for me. All I had to do was light the match. I met up with Tom, the quiet guy 3 houses down with solar panels and perfect hedges. Turns out, he'd been on the board before Susan ousted him in a shady vote. He was still eligible to run. "Run again," I said. He laughed. "Against her?" "Exactly. She's overplayed her hand. People are ready. So we got to work quietly. Tom didn't want drama, and I didn't want Susan catching wind too early. I designed flyers, helped him build a campaign website, and used my security footage of Susan ranting about pool access as motivational media for a few trusted neighbors. Meanwhile, I hosted a private property appreciation day by the pool, inviting every homeowner Susan had harassed over their personal amenities: hot tubs, tool sheds, chicken coops, backyard saunas. We sipped drinks, swapped horror stories, and toasted to personal boundaries. Susan, of course, wasn't invited. She stood across the street, arms folded, watching us clink glasses like it was her downfall parade. The next morning, I caught her crouched near my fence, snapping photos with her phone. When she noticed the blinking red security light, she bolted like a raccoon caught in a spotlight. Later that day, I emailed her a screenshot of her sneaky face, attaching a cease and desist letter citing trespassing, harassment, and surveillance violations under local civil code. I CC'd the entire board and wrote, "Hi Susan, this is a courtesy warning. My property is not public, not HOA owned, and definitely not your playground. Next time, I'll file formal charges. Stay hydrated. Best, your lawfully smug neighbor." With Tom's campaign gaining steam, Susan's clipboard was shaking. My pool wasn't just private Anna Maria, it was a symbol. Election day loomed with the quiet tension of a courtroom verdict. No fanfare, no shouting, just dozens of residents, many of whom Susan had alienated, filing into the HOA clubhouse with tight smiles and ballots in hand. Susan was there, wearing a red blazer, and that fake smile she'd been force-feeding the neighborhood since 2019. Her arms were full of flyers, her voice syrupy with desperation. Tom, meanwhile, strolled in calmly with a pen and a binder labeled Financial Reform and Transparency. I watched from the back, sipping to-go coffee, sunglasses on, savoring the scent of accountability. By 7 p.m., the votes were tallied. It wasn't close. Tom, 79 votes. One ballot read anyone but Susan that counted too. She didn't even stay for the thank you speech. The moment her name was read as former president, she grabbed her flyers and stormed out like she was late for a villain convention. The new board's first act? A motion called the Personal Property Non-Interference Rule. It passed unanimously, stating that no HOA officer could demand access, control, or modification of a homeowner's legally permitted amenities. In other words, stay away from my pool, Susan. But I had one final touch: subtle, elegant, poetic. I hired a landscaping company to reshape the bushes in my front yard into clean, sharp letters spelling out, private means private. Susan's house sits across the street. She sees it every morning. Last I heard, she tried running for secretary of the local garden club and got rejected. One member said, "We're not into dictatorships, thanks." These days, my pool is still mine, my gates are locked, and my parties are invitation only. But the HOA board gets first dibs. Tom stops by sometimes with his kids, and we laugh about the Susan days like they're ancient history. She came for control. I gave her consequences: legal, clean, and with a splash of style. The end. Like and subscribe for more HOA showdowns. Do you think Susan got what she deserved? Comment below.